All right, so moving on to the next segment, I'll be sharing my top 5 rising stars in the sport of boxing today. So these are my top 5 guys that I believe are on the come up of getting more fame, more glory in the sport of boxing, ranking them from 5 all the way down to number 1. So at number 5, I have Vergil Ortiz Jr. Even though Oscar De La Hoya has Ryan Garcia signed to his promotion, Golden Boy Promotions, there's another guy that is just as talented as Ryan Garcia in Vergil Ortiz Jr. that could, at the end of the day, could be Oscar De La Hoya's true cash cow and Vergil Ortiz Jr. Vergil Ortiz Jr. is only 22 years old. He's 19-0, has 16 victories coming way a knockout. He's already been a world champion, winning international titles at such a young age. He has a lot to offer in that boxing ring, but did undergo a health scare in July when he set the fight in a welterweight fight against Benavidez. Santios. Unfortunately, that fight did not happen at 147. Now, Vergil Ortiz, after admitting that he had a hard time cutting weight to make the welterweight weight, he will be moving up to 154, which that will be his new division at 154, which has a lot of question marks right now. We don't know if Errol Spence will be in that division. We don't know if Terrence Crawford is going to be in that division. We don't know what 154 has to what 154 is going to have to offer. But Vergil Ortiz can make a splash by being one of the biggest names at 154. He's number 5 on my top rising stars list. And number 4, I have Jaron Big Baby Anderson. Jaron Anderson is one of the most rising stars in the sport of boxing as we speak. One of the best heavyweight prospects that the sport has seen in quite some time. He's currently 23 years old, has 15 victories, 14 of those victories coming way of knockout. Top Rank, I will say, ESPN Top Rank has done a great job building up Jaron Anderson thus far, building up his confidence, building up his resume at such a young age so he can get his feet underneath him to build him up to be one of the biggest stars in the sport of boxing. The skills are there. He just has to put it all together, and he's doing a great job at that thus far. He showed that during his last fight in the beginning of the summer where he defeated former world champion Charles Martin in his biggest victory to date. And Jaron Anderson is number 4 on my rising stars list. At number 3, I have Frank the Ghost Martin. Frank the Ghost Martin is currently 18-0, has 12 victories coming way of knockout. One of the best fighters in the lightweight division today. When you talk about the top names in this division of Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Vasily Lomachenko, George Kambosos, Frank Martin's in that conversation for being one of the best fighters in the lightweight division as we speak today. Frank Martin is actually associated with Errol Spence, so he's building up his name, building up his clout with Errol Spence Jr., who is a household name with the PBC, Showtime Boxing. But Frank Martin has also been training with what I call the Avengers team in Derek James's camp. He's been training with the likes of Errol Spence Jr., undisputed 154 champion Jermell Charlo, Anthony Joshua, Ryan Garcia. He's been training with a lot of top fighters to prepare himself to be one of the best lightweights in the division today. I think Frank Martin, win or lose, has the chance to go out there in his next fight to either fight Gervonta Davis or Shakur Stevenson. Win or lose, I think if he shows a competitive fight, I do believe that a competitive outing, win or lose against those two respective fighters, I do believe he will get the recognition that he deserves. Frank Martin is number 3 on my top rising stars list. At number 2, I have David Benavidez. David Benavidez is the Mexican monster. He's currently 27-0. He has 23 victories coming away a knockout. He's a 2-time WBO middleweight champion at 168 pounds. To me, David Benavidez has already arrived, and I do believe he is one of the next big things in the sport of boxing. He scored his biggest victory in March, coming via a unanimous decision, defeating Caleb Plant, former IBF champion, at 168 pounds. He did that in a decisive fashion earlier this year. He has been the mandatory for the WBO championship that Canelo Alvarez holds, as he's the undisputed champion at 168 for quite some time. So I do believe that David Benavidez, who he fights next, he can have a fight to stay busy while Canelo Alvarez, Jermell Charlo chew up each other at 168 pounds. I do believe that he should be in line to fight the winner of that fight because he's been the mandatory for the WBO belt for quite some time. I do believe that he needs to get that title shot ASAP, but I do believe that David Benavidez has arrived. He's number 2 on my Rising Stars list. And at number 1, I have Jaron Boots Ennis. Jaron Boots Ennis is currently 31-0. He has 28 victories coming away of knockout. Currently the reigning defending IBF interim world champion at 147 pounds. And with Errol Spence potentially moving up to 154. With Terrence Crawford looming potentially to move up to 154 as well, that leaves the door wide open for Jaron Boots Ennis to become the next big thing in their welterweight division. If Terrence Crawford moves up to 154 and vacates all 4 of the titles, it's Jaron Boots Ennis' world at that point to step up and become the next big thing in the welterweight division. He's explosive. He's an intelligent fighter. Great defensive fighter. He can do it all. I think he just has to work a little bit more on his footwork, but Jaron Boots Ennis has definitely arrived and will get the fame and the glory that he deserves very soon. But those are my top 5 rising stars currently in the sport of boxing.